All right, number 8. So Staples offers teachers a membership of $30, and then they charge $2 per box of pencils. Okay? Grand and Toy offers teachers a membership of $25, and then they charge $3 per box of pencils, right? So you can see how, like, with Staples, it costs more to pay for the membership, but then you're going to pay less per box of pencils. The Grand and Toy, you're going to pay less for the membership, but then you're going to pay $1 more for the box of pencils, right? So part A here is just saying, okay, well, you need to come up with 2 equations to represent what's going on here, okay? So we can come up with like, ultimately is the thing is about money, right? So we're trying to like see dollars, right? So we're gonna have dollars, right, is equal to, okay, well, how much am I gonna pay? And we'll do Staples first. That's important too here. Let's label this Staples. Okay. So when I go to Staples, they're gonna charge me $30, right? Regardless if I spend any money on any boxes of pencils, I'm gonna pay $30 to go to Staples, right? So, and then additionally, they're going to charge me $2, but how many boxes of pencils are you going to buy? We don't know, so we say X. There's the first equation for Staples, okay? Now, Grand and Toy are going to look identical, just different numbers, right? Right? So, again, we want to know the amount of money they're going to charge us to buy pencils, right? Or what's the total cost going to be to go into Grand and Toy? So they're going to offer a membership of $25, okay? And then once I start buying boxes of pencils, they're going to charge me $3 per box. But how many do we buy? We don't know, again, so it becomes X, right? So there are your 2 equations, and you could even, if you like, you can get rid of the dollar sign and say, okay, y is equal to 30 plus 2x, and y is equal to 25 plus 3x. Okay, those are going to be your 2 equations. So basically you can see how it doesn't really matter what the y is or like what's on the left-hand side of these 2 equations, right? So you basically have, let's just for arbitrary sake say, okay, this is going to be a blue box, right? It's a blue box, okay? And the blue box is equal to 30 plus 2x, or 2x, right? And then I also see down here, I'm like, oh, there's another blue box, but it's equal to something different, right? But a blue box is a blue box. It can't change. So you could write, okay, well, here's a blue box in the middle, right? So blue box, well, what is a blue box equal to? Well, 30 plus 2x is equal to a blue box, but a blue box is also equal to 25 plus 3x, right? So the blue box is acting as like a placeholder, right? But you can see how, like, well, if y or blue box is equal to this, then why can't I take it and replace it where the blue box or the y is, right? So basically the next step of this is going to be 30 plus 2x is equal to 25 plus 3x, right? Now this looks very, very similar to something we started at the beginning of the course, right? So just solving for a variable. So I can simply just go, okay, well, I'm going to bring like terms over. So I see numbers, and then I also see some things with x's, right? So why don't I just get like terms on either side of the equal sign? So I can go, okay, well, I'm going to take the 25 and I'm going to bring it over, right? So it's going to be 30 minus 25 is equal to, and I'm going to do the same thing with the 2. I'm going to bring it over here, right? But when I do that, I have to subtract it, right? So it's going to become 3x minus 2x, right? So then when I do the math, 30 minus 25 is going to be 5, and 3 minus 2 is just 1x. which tells me, okay, well, x is equal to 5. Okay. Then, you recall, we didn't talk about this at the beginning, we probably should have, but we're looking for the intersection point, right? And this what we're using right now is what substitution is. Okay, so I took something, the blue box was equal to something, I took it and I substituted into where the blue box was in the other equation, right? That's all I've done here, right? Then I worked down and I got an answer for x. Now, at any point, doesn't have to be the intersection point, any point on a grid always has an x and a y, always. So what we've done here is we've solved for the x, but we still need to figure out what the y is. And you remember from the original question, y represented the amount of money we were going to pay at each store, right? X represented the number of boxes that we were going to buy, right? So let's just go through the rest of this. You can pick at this point either of 1 or 2 to use, whatever one you like. So I'm simply just going to go like an input, like a machine, right? This is an input. And when I input things into my machines, I get outputs, is where the blue box is, right? So here's my output. I'm going to input here, and I'm going to get an output here, right? So y equals, this is the output. Y is the output. 25 plus 3 times what's the input? 5. So y is going to equal to 25 plus 15. So y is equal to 40. Okay. And then I just kind of want to make a therefore statement, or like we can write the point of intersection, right? This is always, you're always going to get a mark for this, right? Now there's also another mark for interpreting this answer. So it simply means these are two lines, right? They're on a graph. So the lines are doing something like this, right? And then they're going to cross somewhere. The second was not really a great example. They're going to cross somewhere. This is the point of intersection where they cross. And then we can read information off of that based on it, right? So it means when x equals 5, so when I buy 5 boxes of pencils, right, at either store, it doesn't matter which store you're at, right? At either store, the cost or the amount of money I'm going to pay will be $40, right? So this is a decision point. You're going to use this to make up your mind or come to a conclusion as to which store you should buy the pencils from based on how many of them you're going to buy, right? So if I buy 5 boxes of pencils at either store, the cost will be $40, right? So it doesn't matter. If I want 5 boxes of pencils, you can go to Grand and Toy, you can go to Staples, it doesn't matter, right? If I want to buy more than 5 boxes, I'm going to choose one of the stores over the other. If I want 4, I'm also going to choose one of the stores over the other. That's how lines work. And that's what the point of intersection is telling us. It's a decision point, right? So if we create the table of values, we could probably see this a little bit better. So we're just going to plug in some values here. So remember, we have inputs and we get outputs over here on the other side. So total cost, right? So let's look at the Staples equation we came up with. And I'm just going to write it up top here just for reference. So dollars is equal to 30 plus 2x. Okay, so I'm going to input these values here. All of these values I'm going to input to x, and I'm going to get out, it's going to spit out outputs, right? And that's what the dollar is, okay? So when I plug in 0 into the input where the x is, right, I'm going to get 2 times 0 is 0 plus 30 is 30. When I plug in 1, I get 30 plus 2 times 1, so 30 plus 2 is going to be 32. And then 2 times 2 is 4, plus 30 is 34. and so on. You start seeing the pattern. I'm going to increase by 2, and this is the first difference you can kind of see, right? 2, 2. We've done this a bunch of times too, so you almost don't even have to do any more math on this. We're just going to go down. You know what the rate of change is, or the slope. We can just increase the whole way down by 2. So, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, and 46, right? Then we can go over and we can do the same thing. I'm going to Grand and Toy, right? So I'm going to write down the price, or the equation that we came up with from the beginning. So dollars equal to 25 plus 3x. Again, I've got inputs and I've got outputs, right? I'm just going to put them in. So I'm going to take 0, plug it in there. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 25 is 25. There's a starting point. Now, 25 plus 3 times 1 is 25 times 3. So that's going to be 28, right? And then we'll do one more just to check and make sure we're okay. 2 times 3 is going to be 6, plus 25 is going to be 31. Okay, so I look here and I'm seeing plus 3 plus 3. So then I can just go, okay, well, I'm going to add 3 the whole way down. 34, 37, 40, 43, 46, and 49. Now, the next question, I was going to do this before I read the next question, but we'll look. So does the table of values verify your answer from part B? Remember what our answer from part B was? The point of intersection was 540. So I better be able to go to my table that I just created and find 540. First of all, better be able to find it because it's supposed to be on the graph. So there you go. There's 540. Now, once I've identified that it is actually there, it better be on the other side as well. And that's how I know it's the point of intersection, because it appears in both tables. And that's how I know I've confirmed the top, right? So because 540 appears in both tables, you can confirm that 540 is, or you can confirm that, well, you can confirm that it is the point of intersection, but you can also confirm that that you did part B right. Right? Because you can see 540 is the answer we got there for the point of intersection. Right? So then you're good. So now you have to provide me advice, right? The teacher wants to know, okay, if I'm going to go, who am I going to go buy pencils for, right? So give advice, right? So you can use your table of values for this. You can look, okay, well, here's my decision point, 540. If I only want 5 boxes of pencils, then it does not matter if I go to Staples or if I go to Grand and Toy. But if I want to buy more than 5 boxes of pencils, like even it could be 6, right? Well, what's the price at Staples? 42. Well, let's jump over to Grand and Toy. 6. How much is it going to cost me for 6 boxes of pencils at Grand and Toy? $43. Well, Grand and Toy is more expensive for 6 boxes. So you get to write this, right? So if I want more than 5 boxes, right? Go to Staples. Let's look here. If I want 4 boxes, 4 boxes at Staples is going to cost me $38. How much is it at Grand and Toy? 4 boxes, $37. So it's actually cheaper at Grand and Toy now for less than 5. So if I want less than 5 boxes, go to grand and toy. And that's it. You should be able to draw your conclusions from, we'll call this a system of equations, linear equations, right? So maybe the hardest part about this is the top half, right? Is actually coming up with the two equations. But if you follow this process like what I did, and then you look at part B is the substitution,